We met when we were teenagers and we fell in love. So a lot of things to unpack there, guys. Your life is yours. You're the only one who's going to be able to live it, so just live it well. If you can't communicate, you cannot appreciate. We can't travel back in time just yet, so there we go. Live life as if you're almost in a simulation, because we practically are in a simulation. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're all here. For today's video we are gonna be, for today's video I'm basically gonna be giving my advice unsolicited because nobody asked for this. But I don't know why, I was just thinking about when I first started dating, and I used to go on this website. Like, I had so many questions in my head, like, do I do this? Am I doing this wrong? Is this normal? Is this not normal? Like, so many things. And since then I've really done some intense healing work. I've really looked at myself, my shadow self, and really looked at my inner child, not taking the time to nurture my inner child since then. And I feel like I don't have as many questions when it comes to that, or I just feel like I just know myself a bit more, as you do when you get older anyway. So I remember the whole point of that statement was that basically when I used to have all those questions back when I first started dating, and you know, guys were like interested in me, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? Oh, I haven't got any rings on. Oh well. I don't know what happened, but one day I found this website. It's called Girls Ask Guys, or I guess you could shorten it to GAG. Girls Ask Guys, and basically it's just like this web page where like girls and guys ask each other questions and get opinions from random people. Like, you can do it anonymously. So I thought, you know what, let me turn that into a video. Like, instead of me just typing out responses, which I haven't been on that website, like I said, since I first started dating back many years ago now. Not that many, to be honest. I went back on that website and I picked a few like queries or questions that people had, and also I found like little gems of like advice that people gave. So I was like, let me bring that in this video as well, so it's not just my advice and my opinion. And basically, if any of you guys are like struggling with something, or you're just trying to look for a different point of view, or even like someone in your own environment, like your friends or family, has come to you with a query and you kind of just want to know how to help them a bit more, maybe I can offer a new perspective that, I don't know, maybe I can offer a new perspective basically. So here we are, giving my unsolicited advice. So HSP, highly sensitive personality. So I am an HSP. Is it a weakness? I'm emotionally really soft. I get hurt easily, but I don't say it because I think my emotions are deep. No one will be able to understand and feel it like the way I do. Is it my fault? As a HSP, what should my expectations be for what should be my expectations from others, and how can I protect myself? What type of things should I be careful from? So I picked this question because I feel like I'm quite a highly sensitive person. I would say my sensitivity is a bit different from what, maybe more of like just emotional sensitivity. Like, I'm really sensitive to noise, to light, to like just lots of things going on. I'm really sensitive, and I'm really sensitive to, as this person is as well, to people's emotions. And I can really sense like just little changes in their demeanor and stuff like that, and I will just catch on. And as well, being anxious, I will start overthinking everything as well and being like, is that about me or is it about them? So like I said, back in the days, I used to think everything was about me. Like, you come to realize everything's not about you. So when it says, is it a weakness? Definitely not weakness. Like, this is such a strength. Like, I would not be doing tarot. I would not be able to help people in the way that I can, which I feel like I do help at least like my friends and family, and offering, being able to empathize with them, if I didn't have this quality about me. One important thing we need to remember is that emotions is related to the feminine, and the feminine has never been well, for a very long time, it hasn't been respected in our society. It hasn't been valued in our society. In fact, it's just been feared and wanted to be pushed away and pushed down. With it being associated with the feminine, a lot of people don't value emotions as something that is actually really important to the way the world works, to society and to each other, understanding each other. So first of all, if you guys feel like you're a highly sensitive person, and this person as well, it's definitely not a weakness. No, it's not a weakness. So they also said I get really soft, I get hurt easily, but I don't say it because I think my emotions are deep and no one will be able to understand. One thing about your creating your reality and all those kind of things is that if you think no one will understand you, no one will understand you. If you assume, like if you think of the laws of the universe, if you make the assumption, the law of assumption is that whatever you assume basically is your reality. So if you assume that other people will be able to understand you, so long as that you're like expressing it, and to be honest, a part of it is understanding yourself, like understanding where those emotions are coming from. Like I said, is this my emotion or is this someone else's emotion? Whilst I might feel this, it doesn't necessarily mean I need to act on this straight away. Like just taking those little prior steps before you really judge that. And again, not even judge, because you don't want to judge your emotions either, because everyone feels emotions, everyone feels things. It's just everyone reacts differently. So yeah, also saying that, sorry, I'm giving like 5 million things at once, just my brain. Thinking no one will be able to understand you means no one will be able to understand you. So find a way to change that assumption about yourself, or find a way to validate those feelings, or even if it feels so heavy and so consuming. Also telling people how you feel. Telling them how you feel means you're setting boundaries. When we are highly sensitive, we assume other people are highly sensitive. We assume that they can notice every little change in our facial expression and our demeanor as just as much as we can see theirs, which isn't very true. There's not many people that can do that. So like I said, again, it is a gift, making sure that you tell people how you feel. It helps them navigate the conversation better. It helps them react differently, at least you would hope so, right? And if you don't tell people how you feel, they'll never know, because they're not mind readers. Nobody is a mind reader, not even a highly sensitive person. And then as a highly as a highly sensitive person, what should it be my expectation from others? I feel like it's not about setting expectations for others, it's about setting expectations for yourself. For example, setting boundaries, telling people no when you don't want to do something or when you're not feeling something, not reacting purely off of emotion, but also taking a day or two or however long you need to allow your logical mind to kick in so that you can take the appropriate action. Because you should acknowledge the emotion, like, okay, ooh, I feel scared here, or I feel sad about that, or this person makes me feel uneasy. But it doesn't necessarily mean you need to react straight away. You can take a couple of days and be like, okay, why did that happen? Okay, I can see this here, here and here. Okay, I'm gonna make judgment based off of that, because your emotions are like telling you something, right? It's like your intuition, it's natural response. And then again, how can I protect myself? Again, just boundaries, saying no, saying I don't like when you say that. And then the thing is, like again here where we're saying I don't tell people, by telling people your boundaries, I don't like this, I like this, I don't value that, I don't want to do that. When you have been quite boundless for a long time, people react very strongly to you finally setting your boundaries. But don't take that as it's a negative thing, because even when I started setting boundaries, when people would like react negatively to that, I would start feeling so anxious and start feeling so bad, and I'd want to just kind of reach out and be like, okay, no, it's fine, like, you know, I'd want to just discard that boundary. But no, I had to tell myself that this is how I feel and my feelings are valid, and by setting this boundary, I'm protecting myself and I'm making sure that only the right people are around me, basically. So making sure that my cup stays full. And then what type of things I should be careful from? The people that want to just take and don't want to give. Then and you're feeling drained, that's the main thing. Like, am I feeling drained by this situation, by this job, by this individual? That's the warning signs of someone who isn't right to be in your environment. It doesn't mean we have to hate them for that, but it just means that they probably just shouldn't be there. This question said, can anyone share what type of girls most teenage boys like? when you were a teenage boy, or if you currently one, what type of girls do most teenage boys like, that most boys find attractive? Okay, I find that the questions are a bit written a bit weirdly. First of all, it doesn't matter what type of girls teenage boys like, because there is someone for everyone. Obviously, you're a teenager, you probably haven't watched this show, but if you're in the UK and you've watched Naked Attraction, I feel like it's such a good show to watch, because you realize that the standard that everyone thinks is like, oh my god, they're only attracted to this, girls with big bums, girls with big boobs, guys with abs, guys with a big dick, guys with, I don't know, who are 6 foot. It's the bare, like, it's really just a front that people put on social media. Ignore it. Be yourself. As long as you're being yourself, this goes for anything, dating, friends, anything. As long as you're being yourself, the right type of people will be in your environment. So long as you put on a facade, you put on a mask, you try to be someone you're not, you won't find yourself satisfied with the type of people that are around you. You'll start looking at other people and being like, oh, the grass is greener on the other side, because, oh, they've got such great friends who they feel comfortable with. I wish I had a best friend. I wish I had this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, but are you actually being your most authentic self? And how will people who are like you know to come towards you if they don't see them in you? I hope that made sense, right? Like, if you are interested in fish, the most random thing, say you have a massive interest in sea life and fish, if you don't show that side of yourself, if you don't talk about that, if you don't express that to other people, then that other guy or girl or person who is into sea life and fish won't know that, oh my god, that person is really, like, you know, on the same wavelength as me, and then there's nothing to bond over, because you're just bonding over superficial things that you don't actually like. It's not sustainable. As for the answer to that question, what type of girls do most teenage boys likes? Who cares what type of girls most teenage boys like? You should just be looking for someone who likes you. Here we have, what should I do when your crush says sorry, I've been busy, but she looks at Snapchat stories when I post myself or funny posts? So I have been in a situation like this too many times, where I'm such a texter. I prefer to communicate over text, and some people just aren't. Some people just prefer to either call or to be honest, they just don't, I don't know, they're not really on their phone or whatever. What I would say in any situation where you're like, okay, this person is always saying they're busy and this person doesn't really like engage in conversation with me, the main thing is, like everyone says, if they wanted to, they would. When you like someone, you make time for them. Like, even that saying of right person, wrong time, it's like, is it actually the right person if it's the wrong time? Because when the right person comes along, there is no, like, time doesn't really exist. Like, you adjust your plans, you adjust your thing because you want them to be a part of it. And I'm not saying everything needs to be like this massive fairy tale romance where someone's like, oh my god, I love you so much, and da-da-da-da-da, and everything's so smooth, because that's not life. And it's okay for people to be busy, especially, like he said, it started in September when she's got college, she's got a little bit more to think about. And me as well, whenever I used to go back to school and I was kind of talking to someone who I was slightly interested in, but I wasn't exactly feeling everything, I would definitely put my education or my work above anyone else. The advice here would be, regardless of if someone is a bad texter or not, or someone is always busy, I would say as long as they are trying to make effort with you and trying to make time for you in terms of like actually going out, actually planning to do things, like so long as they are kind of like, okay, I'm really busy this week, but we can do something on this day, or we can do something at this time. I can FaceTime you at 7 if you want. Like those type of little nuggets of someone showing you that they actually want to talk to you. They value basically you as a person, and they respect the connection that you have together. I think that's what you should be basing off any kind of ambiguities off of. So again, say if someone isn't texting you back, someone's busy, they're here then they're not there, or they text you only at certain times of night, or stuff like that. If they're trying to meet up with you on different occasions and meeting up with you not just in their house as well, then I would definitely say give that person a chance. But if they're not, if they're always just saying I'm busy, then you could just send them a message saying, you know, I really like you, and I really value this situation and you as a person. So if you're not really, I've got time for this, you're not really interested in this, and I would probably say, we should probably decide not to take this any further. Maybe something like that. I don't know. It's not necessarily that you have to ghost them, because they might even just be up in their head and, you know, really consumed with their day-to-day life. They're not even really thinking about the fact that it's coming across as potentially rude or uninterested. So maybe just sending them a message. You know, I think we get so consumed with being like, oh my god, but that will make me seem needy, that will make me seem like I'm whatever, but if they take that as you being needy, or you know, that is literally just their ego. People who are ego driven, everything just feeds into their egos. So just allow them to think that you were so enamored by them that you just had to tell them where you stand. My first girlfriend at 32, am I a simp? He says, I'm having a girlfriend for the first time at 32. She's 42. Due to the fact that she's my first girlfriend, I'm very immature and naive. I think like a 12-year-old in terms of romance. I don't know if the good outweighs the bad. So in this question, I'm going, okay. So he basically put loads of pros and cons of the relationship and stuff like that. I didn't really read that. No offense to him. I feel like there's so much pressure, especially when you're young, to like be like, oh, I have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a partner. Everyone wants to fall in love. Everyone wants to find their soulmate. Oh gosh. I feel like when it gets, I'm only, what am I, 23, so obviously I don't know how it feels when you get to 32, but I still haven't had a relationship, a proper long-term, something that you could quantify as a relationship at this age. And I used to be really stressed about that, like, why am I not like everyone else? Why can everyone else just get in a relationship and I can't? Why do I need to find this perfect person? But I've kind of just accepted it. I've kind of just realized that, especially with, sorry, talking about astrology here, but especially with my Saturn being in my 7th house, I just realized that when I get to a older age, probably around that age, 32, then I will find things probably a lot easier than maybe most people will at that age. I would have figured out so many different things about myself and about relationships in general. And frankly, Saturn is a teacher, so I'm gonna be a motherfucking pro at that point. So yeah, I'm just not even worried about it anymore. So if you're in a point in your life where you're thinking, oh my god, this is the first time I'm experiencing this, like I just said, that experiencing, everything is an experience. Take things, live life as if you're almost in a simulation, because we practically are in a simulation. Live life as if it is a game, but obviously being respectful to all of the characters within the game. Respecting everyone and respecting yourself is the primal thing, but also not taking things entirely too seriously. He's acknowledged that he maybe doesn't know a lot about love and romance, and it is difficult with maybe someone who is so used to certain things in a relationship, and then you're trying to, and you don't really know yourself in a relationship, because yourself outside of a relationship and yourself in a relationship is slightly two different people, because you're not only thinking about yourself now, you're thinking about someone else. So it is a little bit more difficult, I would say. It's a little bit harder to navigate. I would also say don't compromise who you know yourself to be at your whatever age you're at now, or even if you're 32 years old, don't compromise whoever you have known yourself to be up to this age. Know that, so as much as maybe you're dating someone who has more experience than you, and this could go for sex as well, as much as they might have more experience than you, that experience might be a little bit what I'm trying to say is, it's not necessarily true that all of that experience has been good experience, or they've taken valuable lessons from that experience. So don't allow that to deter you or scare you off. Don't allow that to put them on some kind of pedestal and put you lower than them, because that's not necessarily true. You could be way better at navigating relationships and other people than the person who has had 20 years of experience. I think it's when the other person starts being like, you know, you haven't had this experience, so you don't know, or you're wrong and I'm right, and all that type of thing. Like, they're throwing their experience in your face, and that's where it starts getting a bit iffy, and you need to start being like, you know, is this the type of person who I would actually want to have this experience with, who I'd actually want to share a part of my life with. Right, so this one says, I'm ashamed of my past. I find it hard to move on from. Now, my past isn't anything bad by any means. However, when I was at uni, I used sexting as a way of dealing with pain and hurt. And even though my girlfriend knows all of this today, I revisit my uni after seeing it for about 6 years. Okay. Unfortunately, I didn't expect to get feelings of shame of seeing my old uni, and my brain reminded me of things I did at uni that I now feel shame for. Not sure what I can do. So, as anything, on your healing journey, I feel like one of the things that we need to forgive, as much as those people who we have villainized and who hurt us in the past, who contributed to our pain, we also need to forgive ourselves for all of the stuff that we did as well, whilst we were kind of unwoken, or we weren't really sure of ourselves, whilst we were still learning about who we were. Like, he said he's revisited his uni after 6 years, so that's a really long time. And I'm sure there's been a lot of growth in that time. So one thing I would always say about people who are trying to heal or look at your shadow side is forgiveness is a massive thing, and forgiveness for yourself. You can't keep dragging yourself through the negative things that you've done. You can't keep reliving the painful experiences, because it's not going to serve you. You just have to take those lessons and decide, because everything is a choice, and decide to not do it again if it didn't make you feel good, if it wasn't something that you found you know, pleasurable, it wasn't something that you, in part of yourself that you enjoyed. You just have to acknowledge that, okay, I did that and I feel regret for that, but I also forgive myself for what I didn't know back then. I forgive myself for basically the person I was, because I didn't have the knowledge. I just didn't know. So what were you meant to do? I mean, we can't travel back in time just yet, so there we go. Okay, this one says, am I being a dumb teenager for thinking that my first relationship will actually last? So what if you're being a young dumb teenager in love? Love is so beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing to experience. Even if you did end up breaking up, what is she, 19 now? At 19, I feel like, again, like I keep saying, when we're young, like life just seems like it just drags on, and it seems like, oh my god, we forget. Most people are living to their like 90s, 80s. That is, I'm not good at maths, so I'm not going to do the years. But think of how many more years there is to live of your life, how many more experiences there is to have, whether or not you have it with this person or not. And it's really amazing that the relationship is still really great and really beautiful. And there was someone at my uni actually who was dating someone from when she was about 15. She's probably what, maybe like 21 now, and they're still dating. So it's like those relationships like that can feel like they will last forever, and you put a lot of value on them. Like, okay, we've made it through this many years, we can keep going. We all want to be that couple that could say we met in high school, we met when we were teenagers and we fell in love. And well, sometimes it works, sometimes it does. I'm absolutely not saying that it doesn't, because I've seen it happen and I know that it can work. And like they said, they've actually been growing together, and I think that's one of the most valuable parts and most profound parts of a relationship, is if you're able to grow together. That's what keeps you together. When one person starts growing and the other person stays stagnant, or the growth isn't just, you know, isn't balanced basically, that's when it can kind of start drifting apart, and the person who is growing, or the person that, you know, basically feels like their growth needs to take a new direction, and needs to do that to actually help their growth, because, you know, that's just part of life, to be honest. That is just part of life. So yeah, enjoy the relationship. I feel like we put so much pressure again on marriage and kids, and will this person be the one? Will this person be my true love? I feel like we've kind of changed the narrative of a soulmate. We've attached it to friends now, we've attached it to multiple soulmates, which is a beautiful thing, because that is so true. Yeah, enjoy your soulmate, enjoy the time that you have with them, however long that will be. It could be forever, it could be until you get children, and that's even more amazing. But so long as you're not just obsessing over the future. I feel like anxiety comes when we're looking too far ahead. So when you start feeling that anxiety about the possible future of this, stop looking so far ahead, because it hasn't happened yet. The future isn't there. You will only create that future by basically focusing on it, right? So my boyfriend says these things. Should I be worried? I do everything for my family, yet his family does nothing for him. I don't buy you $3 flowers because I've been so busy worrying about bills and fixing my car. You're making me feel bad. I don't buy you flowers. I feel I'm not being a man. Honestly, I feel like he cares less in this relationship. I spend my money and buy him cute little shit, but I don't get much in return but excuses. Okay, well, the last bit where she says, I spend my money and buy him cute little stuff, but she doesn't get much in return. This is a question of love languages. It seems here that her way of expressing love and showing people that she loves them is by gift giving, is by giving them things. And some people don't value that. Some people don't see that as being loved. So I think that needs to be a conversation of different types of love languages. He says here he wants to pay bills. Oh no, he's worrying about paying bills and fix my car. Make me feel bad, I don't buy you flowers. So yeah, it seems as if his love language isn't gift giving. It could be words of affirmation, it could be all the other ones, basically acts of service, something like that. So I think, again, it just needs to be a conversation of like, this is the way I show love and this is how I feel loved. And the other person, this is the way I show love and this is how I feel loved. And so long as that you both can appreciate how each other shows love and also be able to show love in the way that the other person feels love, then it can really start, it doesn't seem as damaging and as dramatic as maybe we initially feel, because I know that's one thing we don't really get taught. All of our families, remember, you are two people coming from completely different backgrounds, family lifestyles, childhoods, and all these different things, and all of our families do things and show love in different types of ways. So we all feel love and appreciate things in different types of ways. So it's just about blending those two things together and starting to learn how to understand each other. I do think here as well, where he's saying, you're making me feel bad, I feel like I'm not being a man, that's kind of his issue. No one can make you feel bad. Someone can just tell you how they feel. Yes, that thing that they said might contribute to your bad feeling, but again, that's something you need to deal with. If you feel like that's making you feel like not a man, then you need to really think about why that's making you feel like not a man. Like, is your idea of a man a bit skewed? Is this person saying that makes you not a man? And then with that being said, is this the type of person that I would like to be associated with? Is this the type of person who I want to be in my life? So a lot of things to unpack there, guys. Oh gosh. Okay, so this one says how to break up with a girl. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it will be on screen for a little bit. You want to read it or something. But I think the premise of this whole conversation was that originally they both didn't want to get into a relationship, and then he's kind of still in this mindset of not wanting to be in a relationship, and then the person he's associated with isn't quite there yet. Basically, are willing to get into a relationship now. They kind of want it, and they're saying that they'll wait for him. First of all, do not wait for anyone. Do not wait for anyone. Just do not put your life on hold for anyone, please and thank you. Your life is yours. You're the only one who's going to be able to live it, so just live it well and don't waste it on other people. If someone tells you they are not ready for a relationship, believe them. Sometimes the you is silent. Sometimes they might meet someone else and the synastry just aligns so well that they feel like, oh my gosh, I need to be with this person. Sometimes things are just out of your control, and even in this situation, at least he has done the decent thing of telling her that he's not interested. Whether or not that rejection hurt you or not, it's just something you kind of need to accept. If you can't continue a friendship with that individual, then let them know that and basically part ways on that account. See here, he says he's not emotionally ready and he doesn't have time for it, and that's really a great level of awareness that this person has. And the fact that he's able to share that with someone and tell them and open up about that, then I think that is really something to be valued and not ignored. By telling someone who's saying they're not ready and they're not emotionally available, and then you're kind of just like pushing them, that kind of makes you the bad guy at that point, because you're not appreciating their boundaries, you're not accepting what they're telling you, you're not accepting them for who you are, but you're projecting kind of like what you want on them. So I'm not sure why he's saying to break up with the girl. I think the main point is that he's debating whether to cut contact with her, because she's kind of not listening to what he's saying. She's kind of just, again, projecting everything that her desires onto him. So yeah, I do think that if he's uncomfortable with the situation, he really needs to just state the facts again. And if the person doesn't adhere to that, to the whatever's happening here, then maybe the communication ties need to be cut there. Okay, how can you tell someone politely that you aren't interested in them? Ooh, difficult one. I think we need to acknowledge that no matter which way you're going to say it, you're going to end up being seen as, they're not going to like it, basically. You know, their feelings are going to get hurt, because no one likes to be rejected, but it happens. We all kind of have, maybe not all of us, but you know, it's something a lot of us will experience in our lifetime, and something we probably should get a bit used to. But rejection is redirection. Come on, guys. Like, someone telling you you're not interested in them, it's a blessing in disguise, because you can divert your attention to someone else, to something else that is more aligned with you. So, do you know what? You should feel happy when you get rejected from something, because you're like, yes, this was not for me. Thank you for being so clear. Thank you for not messing me about. Like, I don't know. I feel like I've been in situations so many times where I've been like messed about, breadcrumbed, or just kind of like ghosted and not told exactly what is happening. And I value so much people who can just be like, I'm not interested, yada yada yada, I don't want this, like, just set the record straight, please. Just tell me you're not interested and I will move on with my life. Thank you so much. So how can you tell someone politely that you're not interested in them? I feel like just being honest, not saying it's because of anything about their looks or their character, not bringing that into the situation. Maybe just being like, it depends what situation you have, but you could be like, I'm not really interested in a romantic connection with you at this time. I'm not really interested in a romantic connection with you at this time. Is that bad? I feel like that's probably the most nicest way you could say it. It's not involving their looks, it's not involving their character. I feel like it's very clear. It's saying romance, it's not saying I don't want to be friends. It's saying with you, because we need to be specific sometimes, because sometimes, like we said in the other one, when people are like, I'm not really ready for a relationship, then some girls, like, also, do you know what, not even just say girls, some people, like, they don't really hear that. They hear it as like, oh, okay, well, I can wait for you, it's fine, I can probably get in there a couple of months, you know, give it a couple of months and then they'll fall in love with me. Like, no. Okay, so I think that was the best one. I'm not really ready for a romantic relationship with you at this time. It's very formal, but I've got a Capricorn Venus, so I love formality. Right, so here we have an advice I thought was really mature and well thought out advice, so I'd like to just share it with you guys. Arguments have nothing to do with the topic being argued about, but the defensive dynamics that go on during the argument. This can be due to trust issues or belief that the other is insensitive to your feelings or wants to see you hurt or failed. Healthy relationships prioritize making sure both always feel safe, secure, and special. You may assume arguments are part of all normal relationships, just because you commonly observe or experience them. It is impossible to communicate and argue at the same time. Disagreements are normal, arguments are dysfunctional. Maybe if the two of you seek out a professional who is qualified to teach you effective communication skills, you might see stability growing in your relationship. I think it's really great advice, because a lot of the time, especially when we are in a heightened state of emotion, like during arguments, we're not dealing with our person anymore, really. We're dealing with their inner child. We're dealing with all the wounds and the childlike behaviors that came with it, and they kind of revert back to that stage, and they're kind of just reacting based off of how they reacted when they were in that state of like fight, flight and freeze. You know, they've kind of gone into that state fighting of flight, like this person doesn't want to talk to me, they ghost you, or they stonewall you or whatever, or they just freeze, or they just don't know how to say anything. So I think that's something that we all need to acknowledge, especially when we're dealing with other people, and also ourselves, because we do that too. We are also going into that kind of state. And the most, as everyone says, the foundational part of a relationship is communication. If you can't communicate, you cannot appreciate. But seriously though, like, if you can't communicate, just everything else, if you're not communicating, one thing is just going in the other person's ear and just like, they're just hearing all the negatives, they're not hearing anything good. So when they said seek out a professional, I think like one thing with going to couple counseling and all those different things is that you can actually discuss topics in a controlled environment, discuss topics where one person isn't, where someone can help balance the conversation, balance the argument a bit, and help the other person kind of see the other person's point of view. Okay, this one says, how can I become more secure? I'm extremely insecure with myself. I doubt everything my boyfriend says to me. I trust people I shouldn't more than my own man. I'm not secure with myself and I want to change that. What can I do? So like, one important thing here is that this person was very self-aware that they are not secure with themselves, which I just love so much about this website, because I'm like, yes, with the self-awareness, come through. So she's really extremely insecure. This is a difficult one because it's like, why are you insecure? She said, I can't remember if I looked through the comments or not, but it's like, are you insecure about your looks? Are you insecure about your personality? Are you insecure because you're comparing yourself to other people, like putting other people above you basically? And sometimes, guys, when it comes to your hormones, especially if you're young and you don't quite know this yet, when you get to like PMS week, pre-period week, you start getting a little bit insecure. So don't take those emotions literally. I don't know what it is about the hormones during that time, but it really makes you start doubting yourself. And then during ovulation week, you really start thinking of the shit. And I love that for us. Yeah, again, and then how you react to that insecurity, like, it's very well acknowledging it, and then also doing like affirmations and stuff like that, trying to rewrite narratives in your head and rewrite your subconscious to help you feel more empowered. And last but not least, I would say with insecurity, it really just comes with age as well. Like, even me, I'm still quite insecure in certain things, and I think I'm really secure when I'm by myself, and then I go out and then I'm like, oh my god, and then I'm like standing at a traffic light and I'm like, ew, everyone's looking at me standing at this traffic light, weird as that. So yeah, it's just something like, you see old people do not give a fuck. And I cannot wait for that day. Yes, kind of comes with age. It kind of comes with knowing yourself more, being super secure in who you are, accepting who you are. That's, I think, the main thing. Like, I love this and this. I feel like writing down a list of stuff like what you love, who you are as a person, what you value about yourself. Like, I'm really kind. I like that I have a big heart. I like that I have like stuff like that, like stuff that doesn't really change as much, like not really about your appearance, even though you could write about your appearance if you really wanted to. But stuff like that, it is quite a hard question to answer, just because it depends what you're insecure about. It depends how deep those insecurities go and how you are already dealing with them. But it is good to be aware of them so that you don't project those insecurities on other people. So that is actually everything that I have for you guys for this video. I hope that this advice, this unsolicited advice, was helpful to someone out there. Thank you so much for coming to this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give a little thumbs up, and if you want to see more from me, then you could also subscribe down below. I post mostly spiritual and lifestyle content, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.